Malliotakis of New York, who's the ranking member of the Subcommittee on International Development, International Organizations, and Global Corporate Social Impact for 5 minutes.
Just reading my title took half my time away. But thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Secretary, for your time today. As you know, we give hundreds of millions of dollars to the World Health Organization. We are actually paid for about a quarter of the assessed fees, more than any other nation. And I'm concerned about their transparency, their accuracy, and their willingness to truly investigate the origins of the COVID-19 pandemic. As you know, the report that they had issued recently had said that the laboratory leak was the least likely hypothesis, and certainly this was something that where the Communist Chinese Party had a lot of influence in putting together this report. I'd like to know what are you doing working with our international partners to demand accountability and transparency on the origins of this virus, and what can we do as members of the World Health Organization to demand that they work with us to provide these answers to the American public?
Thank you. I share your concerns. First, it was important for us to re-engage with the World Health Organization in order to actually be in the room and at the table to advance reform and to help deal with the deficits that are manifest in the organization. In our absence, others fill the void. And others may have no interest in actually seeing the World Health Organization become effective and have the tools it needs to deal both with this pandemic and future pandemics. So we're now actively engaged in doing that. And to your point, the first report that was issued, the so-called Phase 1 report, was not meant to be the final answer. We strongly support moving forward with the Phase 2 report, which the WHO is committed to doing, although the PRC is resisting that. And as we've said on many occasions, we have deep concerns about the methodology used on Phase 1 to include the inappropriate role that officials from China apparently played in that report. In parallel, though, to pushing with other countries to move forward with Phase 2, we have, as I think we talked about a little bit earlier, the President has ordered the intelligence community and the whole of government to dig into everything we know and can find about the origins of the virus, and he's given us 90 days to do that. We had an initial study that was done at his instruction back in March that concluded that there were two likely ways by which this happened. One was natural occurrence and transmission from animal to human. The other was a leak from a lab. But the report could not conclusively say it was one or the other. What we want to do now is see if we can make a better determination with some more certainty. So that's what we're working on. We're working both on the WHO track to make sure that they are doing what they need to do, and we're doing what we need to do. Last thing I'd mention very quickly is that, it's so important going forward that, one, we get an understanding of the origins, that we get accountability, but vitally, that we get change. And by that, I mean the responsibility of countries in real time to share information, to give access to international experts, to have transparency, everything that was absent in this case, and that is not acceptable going forward. And the WHO needs to be, among other things, in the lead on insisting on those norms and making sure that they're implemented.
Thank you. One other question I have is, many Americans have expressed to me, I myself was unhappy with this decision, and I wanted to know if this is a change in policy of yours and the administration to fly flags of organizations, political organizations, at our embassies. I believe that it should be the United States flag only that flies above our embassies, with the exception of another government flag or military flag. But I would like to just know from you if this is a change in policy and we're going to expect this going forward. Political organizations should not have their flags flying above our embassies. And that is something that I believe strongly, and I believe many of my colleagues also believe, and I believe most Americans believe that as well. And so I would just ask that you consider this, because I think it is really setting a bad precedent going forward in how we represent our nation and on foreign lands.
I appreciate that, and I understand the perspective. We've given Chiefs of Mission the authority and discretion to make these decisions, and I think that in fact it actually puts our best foot forward, especially in countries that do not allow different groups, constituents, citizens to express themselves freely. We do, and I think that's actually a very important thing for the United States to do, and I believe that most Americans would support that as well. It's at the essence of our democracy.
Gentlelady's term is expired.